Tonight, breaking news leaving the White House. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders is out in the coming weeks. What the president said late today. Why leave? Why now? Also breaking tonight, actor Cuba Gooding Jr. in handcuffs here in New York City late today, turning himself into police. What the Oscar winner is accused of. Bracing for possible protests at this hour after the deadly shooting of an armed suspect. U.S. Marshals opening fire. Protesters then clashing with the police. At least 36 officers hurt. 2 oil tankers attacked overseas. The U.S. tonight blaming Iran, and with tensions mounting. Martha Raddatz is live tonight. What does this all mean? Potentially dangerous thunderstorms sweeping into the Northeast tonight. D.C. to Philly, New York to Boston, and word that 2 have been hit by lightning outside Pittsburgh. Rob Marciano standing by with the track. Jessica Biel on vaccines tonight. The actress now clarifying her position after meeting with anti-vaccination advocate Robert F. Kennedy. The new lawsuits against Amazon tonight. Parents now claiming Alexa, designed for children, may record your children and store what they say. And after our exclusive tour of Notre Dame Cathedral, what we've learned tonight, you'll want to hear this.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us here on a very busy Thursday night. We have several developing stories as we come on tonight, but we do begin with an unexpected departure at the White House today. President Trump revealing late today that his longtime press secretary, Sarah Sanders, who has defended him for so long, will be stepping down. Her duties often went beyond what we see from a press secretary by the president's side just days ago at Buckingham Palace for dinner with the Queen. But she has also faced criticism, the Mueller report for one, questioning her credibility. So why leave? Why now? ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl leading us off.
An unwavering defender of the president, beloved by his supporters, despised by his enemies, Sarah Sanders is moving on.
She's done an incredible job. We've been through a lot together, and she's tough, but she's good.
It's one of the greatest jobs I could ever have. I've loved every minute, even the hard minutes.
She served Trump for 3.5 tumultuous years, recently coming under intense criticism for what she said at a White House briefing shortly after the president fired FBI Director James Comey.
The rank and file of the FBI had lost confidence in their director.
What gives you such confidence that rank and file within the Bureau lost faith in the FBI director?
Look, we've heard from countless members of the FBI that say very different things.
Special counsel Robert Mueller singled out that comment in his final report, directly raising questions about her credibility. Sanders told this office that her reference to hearing from countless members of the FBI was a slip of the tongue, Mueller wrote. She also recalled that her statement in a separate press interview that rank-and-file FBI agents had lost confidence in Comey was a comment she made in the heat of the moment. It was not founded on anything. Sanders' briefings were often heated and combative as she clashed with the White House press corps. Eventually, she stopped doing them, the last briefing more than 3 months ago. But as she took a lower public profile, she became one of the president's closest and most important advisors. She is one of the few White House aides who traveled with the president on every single foreign trip he has made, attending his meetings with Kim Jong-un, sitting next to Prince Charles at a dinner with the president just last week in London.
And John Karl with us live tonight from the White House. And John, Sarah Sanders has 3 small children, as we know. She says she's leaving for personal reasons and moving back to Arkansas. We also point out tonight that there's news about another one of the president's top advisors, is Counselor Kellyanne Conway.
A federal watchdog, David, has found that Kellyanne Conway violated or accused her of violating federal law by engaging in political activity on the job. This group has issued a report saying that she should be fired. The White House says that is just not going to happen, and they insist that Kellyanne Conway has done absolutely nothing wrong.
John Karl leading us off. John, thank you. In the meantime, Sarah Sanders' departure comes just 24 hours after that ABC News exclusive with the president. In that interview with George Stephanopoulos, the president doubling down. George asking if Russia, China, a foreign power, offers the president dirt on his next opponent, he said he would take it. Tonight, Democrats outraged, even some Republicans expressing alarm, and ABC's Mary Bruce is on the Hill.
Tonight, Democrats are outraged. Even some Republicans couldn't believe it when the president said he would take dirt from a foreign power on his opponent in 2020.
If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen. They all do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
The president defending his son to George Stephanopoulos after Don Jr. set up that meeting when he was promised damaging information on Hillary Clinton.
This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't work that way.
The FBI director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today called the president's comments an assault on democracy, but she's not budging on impeachment.
If the president is inviting foreign interference, why is that not grounds to move towards impeachment?
What we want to do is have a methodical approach to the path that we are on, and this will be included in that. But not any one issue is going to trigger, oh, now we'll go do this.
The president's comments drawing fire from potential opponents.
The conduct of this president is sending a signal to our adversaries around the world, and fill in the blank, North Korea, Russia, fill in the blank. He's sending a signal to them, hey, come on in for 2020.
Even one of the president's top allies on Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, says the president is wrong.
I would make it real clear if I were the president. I want to make it real clear. If you're approached by a foreign government or a representative of a foreign government or anyone claiming to be a representative of a foreign government, they want to help you on your campaign, the answer is no.
Mary Bruce with Lindsey Graham there. She's with us tonight from Capitol Hill. And Mary, tonight some members of Congress, really from both parties, are talking about this legislation that would require a candidate to call the FBI if they're approached by a foreign power.
Well, David, both sides of the aisle agree that action needs to be taken to prevent foreign influence in our elections. Now, it's not a done deal yet, but both sides bipartisan support for this legislative push that would require any candidate approached by a foreign power to immediately contact the FBI. David.
Mary Bruce with us live tonight as well. Mary, thank you. We are also following growing tensions tonight with Iran after new attacks on those shipping vessels in the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. pointing the finger at Iran tonight. Iran now denying the claim. One of the tankers catching fire, the crew on both tankers abandoning ship. We do know that one of the tankers belonged to the Japanese, and all of this comes as the Japanese prime minister is in Iran trying to bridge the gap between the U.S. and Iran. Oil prices spiking today, and so did alarm amid this growing split between the U.S. and Iran. And ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, was just in Iran.
Smoke billowed hundreds of feet high from one of the crippled oil tankers, an explosion at sea. The crew forced to abandon ship. The 23 crew members rescued, and now in an Iranian port city, the Iranians releasing images of the crew watching television. The crew from the other tanker that was attacked, a Japanese-owned vessel, also rescued and on board the USS Bainbridge. The attacks occurred in the Gulf of Oman, about 45 minutes apart, the same waters where 4 oil tankers were sabotaged last month. Today, the Secretary of State wasting no time in pointing the finger at Iran.
This assessment is based on intelligence, the weapons used, and the fact that no proxy group operating in the area has the resources and proficiency to act with such a high degree of sophistication.
U.S. officials say mines attached by magnets were likely used in the attack, and the U.S. Navy has spotted an unexploded mine on the hull of the Japanese oil tanker, which could provide further evidence as to who placed it there.
There are elements within the Iranian regime that do not want the U.S. and Iran to ever come to a bargaining table.
So let's get right to Martha Raddatz live in Washington tonight. And Martha, you were just in Iran interviewing the foreign minister who told you that there would be dangerous consequences if the U.S., escalated these tensions. And now we have the secretary today publicly blaming the Iranians.
You know, David, I asked the foreign minister specifically about what he meant by consequences, and he told me he would rather keep President Trump guessing. But in this case, David, it is the attacks themselves that have escalated tensions, David.
Martha Raddatz, who continues to monitor this major story. Martha, thank you. And next tonight to the images right here in New York City late today, actor Cuba Gooding Jr. turning himself into police. What the Oscar winner is accused of. And here's ABC's Lindsay Davis now.
Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. in handcuffs tonight, charged with a misdemeanor, forcible touching. A sharp contrast from just moments earlier when the Oscar Award winner smiled and waved while turning himself in to New York City police. The 51-year-old, known for this signature line in Jerry Maguire,
"Show me the money,"
now accused of grabbing a woman's breast Sunday night at this New York City bar where he appears drinking and singing in this video obtained by TMZ. The 29-year-old accuser claims he was intoxicated and assaulted her. Allegations Gooding denies. He told TMZ there's video proof that he's innocent.
There's a tape that shows what really happened. That's the most important thing. Was there any groping involved? Nothing.
Gooding's lawyer says he's surprised prosecutors are moving forward with the case.
There is not a scintilla of criminal culpability that can be attributed to Mr. Cuba Gooding Jr.
Gooding entering a plea of not guilty today. His lawyer says that he's reviewed more than 2 hours of surveillance video from that bar, which he says vindicates his client. David.
Lindsay Davis with us here tonight. Lindsay, thank you. And to other news now, into that deadly police shooting that sparked a night of protests in Memphis. Federal marshals serving a warrant engaging with an armed suspect, firing and killing him. As word of that shooting spread through the neighborhood, so did the anger, spiraling into violence. At least 36 officers were hurt, and here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
This was the violent scene. The streets versus Memphis police.
They have a group that's gathered and they're pushing against the squad cars.
People were angry based on what they heard, that a young black man was killed. They were throwing rocks and bricks at police and riot gear. A total of 36 officers were hit, and 6 of them had to be treated at a nearby hospital. Police tonight are identifying the man who federal marshals were trying to arrest, who was shot dead. They say that 20-year-old Brandon Weber, seen here on his Facebook page, was wanted for allegedly shooting a man 5 times in Mississippi on June 3rd, and say when the marshals found him last night, he was driving the victim's stolen car.
While attempting to stop the individual, he reportedly rammed his vehicle into the officers' vehicles multiple times before exiting with a weapon. The officers fired, striking and killing the individual.
Police point to this live video he posted to Facebook before the marshals came, saying that the police were never going to catch him. Weber had been arrested before for weapons possession and drug dealing, but he was also a father. State investigators are now looking into whether the federal marshals broke any state laws, but at this point, there's no indication, David, they did anything wrong. David?
Steve, thank you. We are also following potentially dangerous thunderstorms from D.C. to Philly, New York to Boston. 2 people struck by lightning outside Pittsburgh a short time ago. This Walmart truck jackknifing in the rain on I-476 in Philadelphia. Drivers plunging into flooded roadways. This is in Chatham, Massachusetts. A second round of rain moving across the Northeast tonight. So let's get right to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all for us. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. A nice break from that heavy rain this morning, but that severe line of thunderstorms just across the Hudson right now. Let's take a look on the radar scope. D.C. got it about an hour ago with some damage in the suburbs there. Baltimore, you're getting hit right now. Philadelphia, you're next. Potentially 60-plus mile-per-hour winds. And the backside will give it another round through Pittsburgh before the morning. Everything kind of dries out. We'll look for breezy conditions tomorrow, much quieter. But severe weather tonight across parts of New Mexico. That expands into the high plains, and the severe weather threat this weekend shifts back to the central U.S. David?
Rob Marciano with us tonight. Thank you, Rob. And a surprise twist tonight in the corruption case against Congressman Duncan Hunter and his wife, Margaret. They're accused of using campaign funds to pay for vacations, to birthday parties for their children. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, tonight.
Tonight, the stunning reversal.
I get a chance to talk to her husband.
Margaret Hunter, the wife and former campaign manager for several of her husband's congressional bids, walking into federal court and pleading guilty to using campaign funds for personal use like a family piggy bank. Prosecutors say that she and Republican lawmaker Duncan Hunter took more than $200,000 over several years to supplement their upscale lifestyle. More than $10,000 for an Italian vacation. Money for clothes, Uber rides, their child's birthday party, lavish meals with friends, even air transportation for their pet rabbit. Her admission to a single count of conspiracy now potentially opening the door to her testifying against her husband, who has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, but at one point appearing to blame his wife.
She handled my finances throughout my entire military career, and that continued on when I got into Congress. She was also the campaign manager, so whatever she did on that'll be looked at too, I'm sure. But I didn't do it.
The trial, David, is set for September. Now, Duncan alleges that this entire case is politically motivated, that the Department of Justice went after his wife to get to him. David.
All right, Matt Guppin reporting in tonight. Thank you, Matt. And next tonight here, are your children being recorded? Amazon is facing new lawsuits over its wildly popular Alexa device. Parents now claiming that the company is listening to children without permission and storing what they say. Here's ABC's Adrian Bankert.
It's everything you love about Alexa, made just for kids.
Tonight, there are some new privacy concerns about Alexa devices in millions of homes. Twin lawsuits in California and Washington accuse Amazon of recording millions of children without their consent.
Alexa, please play some music.
This comes after another consumer group raised another privacy issue, recently demonstrating in this video how a child can use the Echo Dot's Remember Me feature.
Alexa, remember my phone number.
Advocates with the Campaign for Commercial-Free Childhood say that data was left on the device even after they deleted the recording 2 different ways.
I was shocked. The fact that Amazon keeps that information is extremely concerning.
These new lawsuits alleging Amazon has built a massive database of millions of voice recordings containing the private details of millions of Americans. David, in a statement, Amazon says that they have strict measures in place to protect users' privacy and security, and they have enhanced protections for families. David?
Adrian, thank you. When we to the index of other news tonight, in the crush of cameras following Amanda Knox. She arrived in Milan today, her first trip to Italy since being acquitted of murder. She was accused of killing her roommate in 2007. She's been invited back to speak at an event for the Italy Innocence Project. Actress Jessica Biel is clarifying her stance on vaccinations in the wake of the measles outbreak. She's facing criticism for joining anti-vaccine advocate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. opposing a strict vaccination bill in California that would make it more difficult for children to receive medical exemptions. Biel today posting she is not against vaccinations but supports giving families the right to make educated medical decisions. Air Force One could be getting a new look. President Trump wants to replace the classic blue and white design. He revealed his proposed new look to George. He says he helped create it. It includes a red, white, and blue paint job. Any new fleet won't be ready until takeoff until 2024. And Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight, the Raptors one win away from clinching their first ever NBA title against the Warriors. The Warriors playing without Kevin Durant, who revealed he underwent surgery for a ruptured Achilles tendon. Win or lose, the Warriors are playing their final game in Oakland's Oracle Arena. The team moves to San Francisco and into the new billion-dollar Chase Center next season. Game 6 tonight, 9 Eastern, right here on ABC. Tonight here, after taking you inside Notre Dame Cathedral after that devastating fire, we loved what we learned today. What's returning to the cathedral? One small step. Tonight, the new images just today from Paris. Workers, some of them professional mountain climbers, hired to help restore the roof of Notre Dame Cathedral. Saturday marks 2 months since the world gasped at this. The spire engulfed, collapsing right through the roof. We were the first invited in by the French general in charge of saving the cathedral, and we remembered what he told us. You have been tasked with, well, some would say the impossible.
Nothing is impossible to a French general.
And tonight, the first indication that that is true. They have now revealed the first Mass since the fire will take place this Saturday, exactly 2 months later. It will be a small group, including priests and the Archbishop. They will be wearing safety helmets, but it's a start. This is just remarkable that this was saved. We saw the stained glass. We walked up the stairs to see the great organ still intact, too. This is it. And tonight, that restoration well underway. And we'll never forget seeing the statue of the Virgin Mary that sat atop that pillar since the 14th century. No one has been able to sort of look at it at eye level until this moment.
Yeah. So it's a privilege.
And a privilege this Saturday for that small group that will be allowed in to pray, to offer thanks that the cathedral is being saved. And that symbol, the cross, that survived.
Shining despite the fire.
Still intact. That Mass this Saturday at Notre Dame Cathedral. Thanks for watching here on a Thursday night. I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow. Until then, have a good evening.